Hello, welcome. It is a new day, a new gate. We are in gate 57, the gate of intuitive clarity, the gentle, and the first line is called confusion. Ra says that if you have any kind of line prejudice, then you're going to miss the beauty of this line because it is a deeply misunderstood line. The exaltation says the gift of penetrating to the inner meaning that ensures timely action. The possibility of the intuition penetrating to the inner meaning. This gift of penetrating to the inner meaning, this is not the inner meaning in the gate 61 sense. This is a lymphatic inner meaning, and it will not come to you in any kind of language that your mind understands. This penetrating to the inner meaning it's simply the ability to recognize that your intuition is there and operating, and to let it get on and do its job. This line can be very difficult for the people who have it. They need to learn to see and to trust that their intuition really works. You have to figure it out in introspection sometimes, and you have to see that your intuition really does work for you. It's there for your survival. It's the only thing the 57 is really interested in is keeping you alive. In the detriment, where feelings are no substitute for clarity and can lead to indecision, the possibility that confusion will overpower the intuition. Anything can overpower intuition, anything, but mostly the emotional system. The emotional system makes it blind. So the foundation here, the clarity, is the possibility of what it is to be clear, to accept the knowing and have no expectation. The knowing is a mutation. This is individuality. Mutation is always a possibility. The first thing that this 57th gate, called the gentle, knows is that awareness can be very profound and penetrating and not always so gentle, and also that its process can be weak. Our immune system can be overwhelmed at any given time by the emotional system, by the mental system, and the moment that the other systems, particularly the emotions, are dictating survival, that's the moment that there is real confusion. The first line is introspective. They're not really listening, which means that they're not really hearing, and therefore they will immediately be in danger of losing themselves. The exaltation, the possibility of the intuition penetrating to the inner meaning, this is saying that the inner intuition can penetrate to the inner meaning. Okay, clues in the title. It's not that you get to know the inner meaning. You get a response out of the system, is what it's saying. It knows in the moment, because this is a gate of knowing. Knowing is a keynote of the individual circuitry. The other side, in the detriment, it says the possibility that confusion will overpower the intuition. So it says that if you do not rely on your intuition, if you're someone with a defined splenic system and you're not relying on your splenic system to keep you safe, then it is always going to be overpowered. The voice of the splenic center is very quiet. In my teachings, when I was when my teachings, they're not my teachings, when I was learning human design, one of the things that they say is that the ajna center is twice as loud as the splenic center, and the solar plexus is twice as loud as the ajna. So the mind is twice as loud, basically, it's saying, than the primal intuition, with emotions being twice as loud again. And I don't know how you're actually working out the twice as and what your baseline is, but you get the idea. Thoughts are much louder than that intuition, and then feelings are again much louder. So it's very easy to push intuition off track, to slam it down, for the mind to say, really? You're listening to that? Really? You've got goosebumps and you're going to change your life? Is that right? And you can the mind stories can get really quite unpleasant at times. The way that we speak to ourselves, it often you look at it and think, I wouldn't talk to anybody else like that. Or will you be quiet and stop giving me this grief? So it's keeping awareness on that. What is actually going on in here? Who's in charge? What's in charge? Yeah, there's a thing there, isn't there? Who's on first base? Yeah, but I mean, who is? Who's on first base? Yeah, so that having that definition, listen to your splenic, train yourself to do that. We all have to train ourselves for our inner authority, because it doesn't come naturally to us when we come into human design as an adult. And we've never been aware of what our emotional wave is like when we're making a decision, or we don't know what it's like to be an ego-defined being making a decision, or the splenic, how does it going to talk to you? You know, when you've got those, what's your splenic hit like? We have to pay attention, we have to learn, and we have to kind of train ourselves to slow down a little bit and listen to it. So first line people here, in this particular case, yeah, because it's very complex with those three different connections, they need to recognize that they have to begin to trust their intuition. Instead of saying 3 days later, I knew it, I knew that was going to happen. The moment you trust it, you see that it is getting to the inner meaning, and then you don't have to allow those other processes to get in the way. Ra had a very powerful intuition, and he said that he didn't begin to pay any attention to it at all until he'd been through his encounter and was working his process and experimenting. He said he was one of those people who would say, I knew that, but it was always like 3 days after the event. If you have a defined splenic system and you have the first line, this is a place where you can really dig in and go to work. And you can say, okay, I have to let it show me that it can penetrate to the inner meaning. And then you can learn what intuition really is. And remember, this is the beginning of the hexagram process. This is the first thing that it is saying to you. It's about the people having a very hard time recognizing the power of intuition, even when they have it. And it is very confusing because it's weak. And it's weak, not in a judgmentally term. It's just the weakest of the three awareness centers in terms of the power of its voice, of its ability to attract your attention. It's weak because it's easily overpowered. This is the foundation of the gentle, of this gate to intuitive clarity. The grounding comes in the 51-1, and it is called reference. So the foundation of the arousing and the grounding to confusion, reference. The advantage of previous crisis experience. You've ignored your intuition in the past. You've had that experience. Perhaps it was shocking. Now you have a reference for that and the possibility of choosing a different experience or becoming aware of a different experience. So we've had a channel between Venus and Uranus for the last few days. It was the 1-8 between the G center and the throat. This is the channel of inspiration, the creative role model. It's an individual energy, and it can inspire and empower others to follow their own creative direction without reference to others. The moon has been in gate 9 most of the day. It transited there at 11:54 BST this morning. At 22:54, it moves into gate 5, the gate of fixed rhythms. This is in the sacral center. It's the gate of habits, habits that can keep you healthy. They can focus the power of the sacral into a regular activity or occurrence, and that's good for you. You know, the trick is not expecting other people to follow your fixed rhythms and not allowing other people to take you out of your natural healthy habits. And the moon moves into gate 26 at 9:48 tomorrow morning, but that's just around the time that I'll be posting the transit report for the 57 line 2, so I shall leave that one for then. Okay, so that's that. Yeah, nothing more to say. Let's move into the second line, ready for tomorrow morning. And be gentle, love yourself, go gently, and I will see you again tomorrow. Thank you for being here.